Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, we could really use your help. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named the Two Opinionated podcast one of its top 100 podcasts. This is a monumental feat for this program. We're a father and son team out of a small town in West Virginia, have been doing this for about 5 years. There's 15 million podcasts out there. About 40,000 of those get to the point that they're listed on IMDb. Out of those 40,000 out of the 15 million, we were ranked number 82. Something that we're just immensely proud of. We're so thankful for our listeners, our watchers, our fans. Thank you so, so much. If you would like to help us out, and we're asking for it, please. It's easy. It's really easy. It's free. If you go to IMDb, that's imdb.com, look up Two Opinionated Podcast, and just take a look at the page. That's all you have to do. I mean, you're welcome to look at the cast, look at the episodes so you can kind of see who's been on the program. Do whatever you want. But even just bringing up the page, imdb.com, Two Opinionated Podcast, bring up the page, look at it. That helps us so much. So please, if you can do anything, we would really appreciate that. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Love to have your subscription there. It's also free. And you can also check out our website, meistercon.com, where you'll find almost 700 episodes, audio and video, available on there. There's also a terrific blog from Brett, and it'll let you know anything that we have going on in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location, anything that we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so, so much. We appreciate you so much. I can't express enough how appreciative we are of all of you. We never expected to do as well as we have, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much. Enjoy that interview. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actress, director Nicole Oliver with me. So welcome, Nicole.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I've been a fan of yours for a while. I'll tell you how long. I don't remember which one of these came first, but they were both from the 90s.
Okay.
You were a detective on Kung Fu, the new show.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
The journey continues, or the legend.
The legend continues. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I remember that. And then you were a doctor, I think, on an episode of Millennium.
Yeah, I played a psychiatrist. I played Dennis Henriksen's psychiatrist. Yeah. Yeah, me too. That was great. Yeah, that's going way back. Yeah, I was like 2 years old. No, I wasn't. Yeah, I've been doing this a long
Doing this a
time.
while. Like, it's impressive going through IMDb and seeing like you'll get tired before you reach the end of the credits.
I love that, Michael. That's awesome. Yeah, it's been great. I've been doing this for over 30 years. So it's pretty amazing as an artist to be able, well, any industry really, but especially as an artist to be able to say that, I've been able to claw my way, eke my way, make my own little path. So it's
not easy.
Yeah. No, not at all. Not at
all. What got you into it? What made you want to go into the entertainment business?
Well, I was a dancer when I was a kid. So I was trying to figure out how to start this. So yeah, I started doing dance when I was 3 years old because my parents just needed me to do something because I was like popping to everything. And they're just like, keep the kids keep her busy. And I really loved it. So much so that I really seriously thought that was going to be my path. But then the same time as doing pointe and ballet, I started when I was 8 on pointe. I also was playing soccer.
Okay.
And sports and ballet don't, really hard on the body. I ended up ripping my ACL in my knee.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So that kind of dashed any real hopes of being a profession. So I kind of pivoted into here's that word, pivoted into I I kept dancing because I loved it, but I started doing some modeling, and then I did the high school play.
Yeah.
And I remember doing the high school play in grade 12, and it was called The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. And I played Sandy. She was kind of the betrayer, the bad girl in this, and remember saying my first line and then bowing at the end. And I said to my parents, I'm not going to go to law school. I want to be an actor. And
I'm sure they were
after they
thrilled to hear that.
yeah, after they stopped crying. No, actually, they were really great. What my parents said was, please follow your dreams, but you need to get an education. So that was our compromise. So I went to university and I graduated with a BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts, in theater. And then I actually went on many years later to get my master's in communications. But yeah, so that's how I got picked up by an agent in my last year of theater school, fourth year of theater school. And I've been with that agency ever since and been working ever since. So
Man, that's awesome.
yeah.
I mean, when
Yeah.
did you start doing the voiceover roles?
Pretty much right away, like in the early 90s. So I graduated from university in 1991, back when the earth was flat.
Yeah, I
and,
was in 92 university.
Yeah, okay, so close enough. And my agent at the time, who's still my voice agent in Toronto, said to me, you've got a nice voice. Have you thought about voiceover work? And I was like, what's that? And so I submitted an audition for Vaseline Intensive Care, and I booked my first audition, which was that. And then there was, there's this cartoon show, X-Men, and they're looking for this one part. Do you want to audition? Or Silver Surfer, I should say, was the
Yeah.
show. Do you want
I
to
think it was
audition?
Silver
And I was like,
Surfer came first.
yeah, Silver Surfer. Yeah. And I said, sure, yeah, I'll audition for that. And I booked that. And I just loved the whole notion of voiceover work not being so attached to this, right?
Right.
And that the hours are also way more reasonable, right? But it's super fun. And I still think the voiceover part of the industry is the one part of the industry that's still really attached to talent. You can't fake it. It's not just funny voices, right? Like you've got to be able to act and carry a story and
Well, I've
capture an
always heard that
audience's imagination.
in
So
some ways harder to get into voice acting than into regular acting. Just
I
because
think
it's a smaller click.
well, not it is and it isn't. I mean, there's lots of room, but you just got to be able to do it. You can't fake it. You can't just rely on this, right? I'm pointing to my face. You can't just rely on that. You actually have to have some talent there, and you have to be able to like I said, pique people's imaginations and weave stories. And yeah, it's different, but it's awesome. I love it. I love it.
I know a lot of the I'm nerdy, so I've watched a lot of cartoons, and now I'm a pawpaw now, so I've got grandkids watching cartoons, and I'm going through that, and you voice a lot of characters on the cartoons that we watch. When my kids were younger, especially my son who does the podcast with me, you were voicing, in addition to Silver Surfer, but you were doing Black Widow on a lot of stuff, which is not terrible. That's pretty great.
No, and
I've got a granddaughter now that's 4 that is way into Barbie, and you did a ton.
Oh, yeah.
We're like watching all of those Barbies from the last 10, 12, 15 years.
Yeah, it's awesome. My boys are university age now, and they're like, at the time they're like whatever, but now they're like, Mom, all the girls are like, you're the voice of their youth. Wow, good job. Good job. So they're like, thanks. Little props finally. I guess my career was worth something there anyway.
Oh, and you're the mayor on Bob the Builder.
Oh yeah. That's an oldie, right? Like, I mean, that's the new version of it, but that show's been around forever. My kids watched it, right? Yeah. I
mean, that's pretty
mayor. That's
pretty great.
I've been fortunate enough to voice and to be some pretty iconic characters, right? It's humbling. It's lovely.
I enjoyed you on Nancy Drew.
Thank you. That was fun.
I've had several of that cast, including Kennedy's been on the show. So we started watching
Kennedy's a doll.
because she's terrific. Because she was coming on, we started watching the show. And you were great on there.
Thank you. That was so much fun because I got to learn sign language, and Anthony, who plays Ace's dad, is a deaf actor. And so the challenge, not only just learning your lines and being this other character, but then having to sign it and understanding that your character's been doing that their whole life, at least their whole marriage.
You had to work at that.
Yeah, to work really hard at that. Yeah, really hard.
I mean, at least you got a skill out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still, it's still words I forget, and also it's how families talk is different than how you would talk when you're out meeting people for the first time. Much like with how we use words, right? So we sometimes have our shorthand with our family for those who speak ASL, use ASL. There's a shorthand usually as well. So
I always
it
say
was really
that,
challenging.
in addition to the shorthand conversations that we have as a family, my Southern accent gets so much thicker when I'm talking with like you would probably have a hard time following our conversation just because it's so thick, and we tend to abbreviate words, as talking,
Yeah.
as families do sometimes. But when I'm talking with people in Canada or on the West Coast, something like that, it's still pretty strong, but it's not nearly as thick.
Well, I love your accent. So there
I
you go.
appreciate
I think
that.
it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I never, well, that's not true. I knew I had an accent. I didn't realize how much of an accent I had until I started talking with people, on the West Coast that were,
Yeah.
they were like, where are you from?
Well, that always cracks me up because, yeah, everywhere you go, people have accents. But my American friends, it's like, y'all sound so different from side to side and top to bottom. You do not have one sound. So, yeah, not at all. Not at all.
So you had a movie premiere last night.
I did on the Hallmark channel down there in W up in Canada. It was called Round and Round, and it was so cute. I was so happy with it. It's a great, I think, addition to the Hallmark lineup and the Hallmark family, and a little magic, a
Yeah,
little
tell us about it.
wonderment.
What's the movie about? What's your role in it?
Sure, it's called Round and Round, and I'm the mom, and here's a stretch. But Rick Hoffman from Suits is my husband.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
And
really good.
yeah, he's great. Vic Michaelis plays the lead with Dave Greenberg and or sorry, Bryan Greenberg, and they're just fantastic. And the story is my daughter is coming home for the seventh night of Hanukkah, and we always have a meet cute party. That's the night my husband and I met. And her job is to bring the jelly donuts, or they're called sufganiyot
Oh,
in the Jewish faith, and jelly donuts is how I know them. And she brings them. This guy smashes into her in the train station in New York, and they go everywhere. And she shows up so like flustered, and I'm sorry, mom, I didn't bring them. I know it. And then there, lo and behold, her grandma walks in for the party, and in with the grandma comes that same guy that bumped into her.
of course.
And of course, it happens. And they end up playing a game, spin the dreidel, which is a tradition during Hanukkah. And something happens when they spin this dreidel. And all of a sudden, the next morning, she wakes up and she's back at that same day. It's like Groundhog Day.
Oh,
And
round
she
and round.
lives, and that's right. And she keeps reliving the day and have to figure out what she has to change. What is she not getting? What is she not learning? And I'll leave it there because I don't want to spoil, but it's fantastic fun. Really cute performances, lots of references to time travel. They end up enlisting his buddy who owns a comic shop. So really fun. If you haven't seen it, I think you'd really like it actually.
Yeah, we watched last
And
night.
it's wonderful.
My wife and
Oh,
I.
did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
great. Yeah.
well, and it just so happened that I was preparing for our talk today, and she was
Yeah.
sitting there watching TV. And when I was like, "What are you watching?" She's like, "It's a new one. It's Round and Round." I was like, "Oh,
Perfect. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah."
And it's really sweet, and it's really funny, and it's really fun. And yeah, so that premiered. I think they're going to play it on repeat a couple more
Oh, yeah,
times over the holiday season.
I think
Yeah.
I think the part I liked about it was kind of the little references they did to the nerdy stuff, because you did have
Yeah.
a comic book in there. You had some time travel stuff. I liked that part of it.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. Fantastic. So there's something in it for everybody. And it's also understanding there's more than just Christmas happening around the world this time of year for lots of different people. So I think it's really great that Hallmark is branching out and understanding that holidays are for everybody. Yeah.
I'm just waiting. At some point, Hallmark is going to do like a show where people have superpowers. It's going to happen.
Yeah. I think that might be the only area left that they haven't quite covered. So yes, you never know. You
I
never
like
know. A
Hallmark
retired.
branching out because it's the one network that everything's going to get wrapped up in a nice bow at the end of it.
Well, isn't it nice to have some happy stories?
Yeah.
I mean, every time I turn on the news, I try and stay current with what's happening in the world, and there's a lot. But it is nice to have some escape and see that people can be decent to each other. Yeah.
It's nice having the happy ending on occasion,
Yeah, we deserve that, I
especially
think.
during the holidays. You don't want any
Exactly.
negative downer stuff. You want to be uplifted.
No, that's right. That's right.
Got to have some hope during the holidays.
Hopefully a little longer than the holidays, but it's a good place to start with hope. Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
Have you started going to holiday parties yet?
Oh my gosh, I have. I'm already exhausted. I've had something every day since the beginning of December, and I go full tilt boogie till like Christmas Day. And then so my trick right now is I'm actually drinking cold pressed juice with extra vitamin C.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
trying to stay hydrated and
Have
healthy
to.
and
That's
get my
right.
sleep and don't stay out too late, and just moderation, because I'm fearful that I'm going to go, and I'm still working. I'm directing some shows right now, so I'm fearful that I'm going to go right up to Christmas and I'm going to stop work, and then I don't want to get sick.
No, I think that's what you have to take care of yourself, because you're around so many people, and forget
Oh
about
yeah.
COVID, just catching any type of illness during holidays is
Oh,
terrible.
even before the time that we shall not speak of by name, that time I was always like wearing scarves like around my, and I would very rarely, like, I'm like, oh, you're sick, don't hug me. I've always had hand
Gotta
sanitizer in my
protect that
bag.
voice.
Well, just everything. I mean, if you're sick and you're working on camera, it used to be show up, suck it up, and we'll fix it in post, which is horrible. But for voice, you can't. If I'm sick, you can't hide it, right? And then if I'm sick, I'm not even going to be able to reach some of the areas I have to go to, right? So
Yeah, I
yeah,
hate being sick when I'm doing podcast, because it just your
yeah.
voice sounds so rough. It gets that kind of gravelly, tone, and
Hmm.
lose it. Sometimes you just lose it. It's awful.
Well, the gravelly tone's okay if you're a single person, maybe, and you're looking to find a date for a second, for a hot minute, but that's about it. That's about it.
You're
That's
right.
about it.
That's about the only time it comes in handy.
Yeah.
When did you start directing? Was that something you started right from the beginning, or was it a little bit later once you got into acting?
It was later. I mean, I started directing on live action first. I did some top close shorts, and I was assistant director on a feature, and I directed. I did a reality show for 4 years after my kids were born, thinking that would be easier.
That sounds harder to me, a reality.
Oh God, it was harder. I was hosting and producing and directing. So
It's a lot of hats.
and then but I think that's what keeps you relevant, right? I mean, I like to learn. I want to keep growing. I don't feel I have to choose, and that's how I become better. So it was always something I thought I would be able to combine my love of mentoring younger performers coming up, and and just being involved with a production from beginning all the way to the end, really feeling like part of a team. I love that.
Yeah.
So I do love voice directing. So I guess it's about 9 years now I've been doing it.
Is there
So
is there
eight or nine
much of a
years.
difference in directing, voice directing, as opposed to just directing for like a film or a TV show, or are they about?
Oh, well, yeah. The first is the hours. I mean, it's banker's hours as opposed to 17 hours. I don't have to work outside. I'm always working inside. I don't have to deal with elements and stuff like that. And then the prep is different, when you're shooting. I got to think about my shot list. I got to think, in animation, there's the animation director who's thinking about that stuff, like what are the pictures going to look like, dealing with the board artists, what's the story looking like, how are the models coming about, are they all rendering, can we put them all together, what's our lighting going to look like, blah blah blah. For me, I then partner with that animation director, and I become the other half of their brain, where I bring the pages to life so it'll match up with their pretty pictures they're making.
Love that.
So my real responsibility is I have to kind of have a mind movie. I hope kind of get to know what the animation is going to look like, how they're going to cut it. Is it a single shot? Is it a wide shot? So what are the dynamics that need to be present in the scene and the voice? But then I just, I work with the actors to pop the words off the page. And then usually those words we've recorded, the animators then have access to that, and it can inspire how the final product comes out, right? So we'll record before all the pictures are done.
Yeah, I didn't realize they
So
had
it's fun.
different directors, but it makes sense.
And on top of that, like, you'll have an overall animation director, and then you might have episodic directors, because it's a lot of work. Like,
Sure.
so the production pipeline on animation can be anywhere from 12 to 24 months from when you record to when it finally is finished. It's a very long process. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Animation is so difficult anyway.
Yeah,
Out of just voicing the characters, just creating the actual animation.
it
Yeah,
all.
I never
Yeah,
thought about that
yeah.
with directing, but it'd be hard to do both sides of that.
It's challenging. It's fun though, because like, I just really like it. I really love it. I'm kind of interested in, I'd love to, I've watched the animation directors and what they do and how they pull all that together, but I just love performers. I love working with actors. I love helping, when you're a voice actor, you have to let your mind movie play so you can bring it to life.
Do you have a
And
preference on which side of the camera you prefer to work on?
I love it all for different reasons. I mean, I love working, period, full stop. And that's very challenging as an independent contractor to be able, the rest of the world operates on the principle of biweekly payments, right?
Right.
And as an independent contractor, regardless of what industry you find yourself in, that's not always the case. So employment is fantastic. Continuous employment is amazing. But I do like doing different things, and I like being challenged in different ways. And,
Do you write?
you
Do you
know,
write at all?
I write a little bit. That's one area that I've never really totally immersed myself. I think it's a confidence thing for me. I've written some ideas down. I've always said that when I finally have something that I have to share, I'll go and do it.
Yeah.
But
I think
I'm just
that's a lot of
also,
the time. People,
you know,
they finally write something. It's because, okay, whatever's hit them, they're like, I need to share this. So that's when they write.
but for me, I mean, my kids have finally just both gone off to university now. So, um, my husband and I made the choice. I really wanted to be a mom. And so, on top of being a working person, I've also been a mother and a working mother. And so, something has to
Can't do everything.
give. No, you can't. And if I want to raise nice human beings, I need to be present and active as a parent. So,
That's right.
I've tried my best, right?
Yeah.
So,
No,
yeah.
that's terrific. Have you done conventions yet?
Oh yeah, I've done tons of conventions for years. So I did voices on My Little Pony, of course. And so
That's what I
there's a
was
huge,
getting to was, have you dealt with
yeah. The bronies are awesome, and the
the
bronies are now like 2 to 102. They're all gender. They're everything. I liken them to Trekkies in terms of the phenomenon.
I think that's
They're
a
a real
fair
passion.
comparison because of the
You
passion.
know, the passion behind it, and but also the talent and the number of artists that have, people that have gone on to work in animation on other programs and be in the industry that show has inspired is incredible. My favorite part has been going around the world. Literally, I'm meeting people from all around the world. It's really humbling when that happens, but it's fun. It's really great. Yeah,
In
I
my
love it.
experience at conventions is convention fans are by and large terrific. I mean, they're just about, I mean, you
Mhm.
knucklehead once in a while, but for the most part, they're terrific. They're very positive. It's a community. They don't have an issue waiting in line to get their time with you. They're very patient. It's a great group.
And it's given a lot of people community. It's given a lot of people, support. It's allowed them to feel heard and seen. And I just think that's what we all want, right? At the end of the day. So
For
however
sure.
you get there respectfully, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I figured you had done conventions. You've
Yeah.
got too much voice work not to have done at least some of them.
I've done a lot of them. There used to be the really big one down in Baltimore. I
Mm-hmm.
think our last one was right before COVID, and
Yeah, we
I said
cover
the word.
that one on occasion. I mean, at least
Uh
we haven't made it back
yeah.
after
Well,
2020.
they don't do the big one anymore, but I think probably the biggest one would be Everfree in Seattle. That's probably the biggest
Oh yeah, we
pony
haven't been to
convention now
that.
by numbers.
Yeah.
But the one that was in Baltimore, the last one had 12,000 fans. 12,000 for one show. Not like for that one show.
It's not
That was
terrible.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. Crazy. So
Yeah, we were doing that,
yeah.
my son and I, doing the kind of like press, covering the convention and stuff, pretty steady. And then
Yeah.
we got stuck at home for a while, and it took a while for the conventions to come back, and we haven't picked it back up. I'm hoping for next summer we can kind of get back into that, because it's just a blast.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah. It's always fun. Yeah. It is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sure. Nicole, thank you so much for taking some time.
You are so welcome. Thank you for letting me come on. And I'm happy you got to see Round and Round. And it'll be on again over the holidays. So check your local listings for Hallmark. And yeah, and maybe I'll see you at a convention real soon.
Oh, that's what I'm hoping. I hope we'll get to run into each other in person. And you have to come back. The next big project you have to come back and tell us about it.
I would love to. You got a deal.
So a couple quick things before we wrap. Anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Well, that I'm allowed to talk about,
That's
right? Because the world is run by lawyers. I'm directing Lego Friends, which is on YouTube right now. I'm directing some more episodes for them.
love
I'm
Lego
directing, yeah, it's great. I'm directing the 4th season of Molly of Denali for PBS.
Oh,
I've directed a show called Egg Venturers for preschool as well. That's been released. And then voiceover wise, I'm on Lego Dreams playing the Never Witch, and I'm on the new Ninjago as Empress.
Yeah, I saw that. That has become
so I've got all that
a franchise.
Yes, yeah, been around for over 10 years, Ninjago. So yeah, so I've got a lot of that going on. And then on camera wise, we just resolved the actors strike with SAG, and that I am a SAG member as well. So we've ratified that agreement. So things should start picking up again. And up here in Canada, our actors aren't on strike, but we're still very reliant on the US industry. So hopefully a few auditions are starting to come up, but I'm looking forward to a busier 2024.
Yeah, let's hope so. More back to normal.
Yeah, more back to normal. A few more. I always like to try and do, like, if I can do like a Hallmark movie and maybe, a nice guest star or two on something, that's great. Because that's kind of almost all I can fit in with everything else I have going on. So yeah, so that's great though. But I like variety is the spice of life, as they say. That's
exactly right. Okay, so
I will keep it spicy.
We like it spicy.
Yeah, me too.
The last thing before you go is just, where can we find you on social media?
Sure. Well, first of all, I have my website, which is NicoleOliver.com, and then everything is listed there. But I'm official Nicole Oliver on Instagram, and I'm at Mouth Noise with a Z on Twitter or X or whatever the heck. But I rarely go over there. Yeah. Those are kind of my only sites right now. I do have a platform on TikTok, but if I have to add one more, I'm going to lose my mind. So I'm kind of like Instagram, and then sometimes X when I have the patience. But yeah.
Do you do your own website, or do you have somebody doing it?
I have somebody for my website who
they're doing a good job.
Keeps
it's well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And I try and update it at least drop a little something on what's happening but that also has a contact page. And if people want to find out how to find me, it's all there too. So yeah.
Terrific. Well, thank you again, Nicole. And definitely let's plan to do this again at some point.
I'd love it, Michael. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Hold on one second for me. All right. So Nicole Oliver, the movie is Round and Round. It premiered last night on Hallmark. They'll be re-showing it several times between now and the end of the holiday season. So you got plenty of time to watch it if you haven't yet. It's really good. I was one that, I'm not a huge kind of Christmas holiday movie type, but I do watch on occasion, and this is one of the better ones I have seen. Really enjoyed that. So please check that out. I think you'll enjoy it. I think we touched on most of the things that I wanted to with Nicole. She was Jack's mom in Wonder with Julia Roberts. I thought she was terrific. She played Sally Bunn on the Sausage Party. She was terrific. I mentioned that she voiced Black Widow. She was also Betty Ross in the Hulk versus, which I believe was a direct-to-video release, and the Next Avengers, which is still one of my son Brett, that does the podcast with me. It's one of his favorites from when he was younger. I think when it came out, he was probably 10, 11, 12 years old, somewhere in there. Always enjoyed that. She's voiced or done voices for the Transformers. I did forget to ask her if she had done work on Darkman 2. Darkman was a movie that Marvel put out back in the 90s and then made a comic after the movie instead of the other way around, which was usually the case. I didn't even realize there was a Darkman 2. So I wanted to ask her about that. So I'll get back to that. We touched on Nancy Drew. She had an appearance on The Last Kids on Earth, and we have had the creator of that show and comic book on the program before. So if you haven't seen that one, definitely check that out. She was Xena on Man in the High Castle, which I love that. She played a judge on Arrow, and she did voices for Crypto, the dog or the super dog. There was a Kong, King Kong cartoon from years ago that she did some voices on. She was in X-Men Extinction. She did voices for the Sorcerer on early 2000s He-Man. We talked about Millennium and Kung Fu. So I think that was pretty much everything that I wanted to touch on. But she's been very, very prolific and busy. It's impressive, and everything she does is just really well done. Talented actress. I'm sure she's terrific as a director too. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for tuning in with us again this week. Definitely don't take you for granted. If you're finding us for the first time, thank you. Love to have your support. It's easy to do. It's free. If you prefer to watch, our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please hit subscribe. Really does help us out. It's free. If you're a listener, same thing. Wherever you're listening at, just subscribe there. That'll help us out. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named us a top 100 podcast. 15 million podcasts out there. To be named a top 100 or to a top 100 list is just very special to us. If you go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, just bringing our page up helps us out, and that's free. You can look at our 700 episodes and see all the terrific guests that we have had on the program, but even just bringing the page up really does help us out. Our website is meistercon.com. You can find all of those videos or all of those episodes, audio and video versions on the website, meistercon.com. So definitely check us out there as well. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm once again here to ask for your support. It's been a big year for the Two Opinionated podcast. Back in February, we got to live out a dream, moderate for William Shatner here in our hometown. In May, we passed 100,000 downloads on our YouTube channel, and we followed that up in June with 50,000 downloads on the audio side. We recently posted our 600th episode, which is pretty good volume for just a father and son operation. Not too many podcasts can keep that volume up. We've been doing this now for 4.5 years, 600 plus episodes. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which is a really big deal for us because we've always gotten the views, but have struggled to get people to subscribe. So that 1,000 was a big deal for us. And best of all, we were recently named one of the top podcasts on IMDb, which is the entertainment database. Those that are ahead of us, we came in at number 82. Those that are ahead of us are bigger companies like Disney, mostly Marvel, and Joe Rogan, that type of podcast. So for us, being just a small West Virginia father and son podcast, to be in the top 100 out of 15 million, it's a pretty big deal for us. So thank you for everything you've done for us so far. Got a couple little ways, though, that you can help us, and they're free, and they're really easy. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, please go to YouTube. It's under MeisterCon Pod. just hit subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, really helps us a ton. And maybe even more important, if you could go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and just look around the page. Just having that traffic on the page really helps us out. So that's a couple easy ways that you can support us, even if you're not listening or watching all of the time. And we want you to listen and watch, because I think that our guest list, I would put up against anybody, any other show, podcast, anybody out there. I think our guest list holds up. So please check us out. You probably will find somebody that you like, or maybe somebody that you didn't know you liked, but kind of discovered them on there. There's tons of that. If you're into music, we have that too. If you like books, we've got authors on there. If you're more into what goes on behind the scenes in the entertainment world, we've got producers, directors, video artists, anything you can think of that happens behind the scenes, we've had them on the show. So definitely check us out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.